we are live. So welcome on in, everybody. I see it's give it a little bit here for everybody to get in, but once again, greatly appreciated for everybody that comes in tonight. Tonight we have Terry Lake. As I've been talking about, I've been trying to get some people onto the channel again to have some discussion. Terry, of course, has been a long follower of the channel. Also been on the channel when we've discussed some of the stuff in the previous Pokemon boom. And I thought it was a good time to bring him back and have a discussion on some of the successes currently that he's having in the market, and also talk about what we could potentially be seeing here in the future as well. As we're going into 2026, there's a lot of what ifs and how things may play out. But coming closer to the end of the year, it's always good to have that discussion and kind of see where people's thoughts processes are potentially here with the market going forward. So, Terry, if you would like, jump on in, introduce yourself to everybody, give them kind of a backstory for yourself. And
my name's Terry Lake, a little older than most of you kids that collect Pokemon. My kids collected it growing up. My oldest is 33, so they were right in that era to start collecting it. And I'd come home from work and the cards would be all over the floor, so I'd throw them away. And then my wife would just buy them over again. And I can only imagine the cards that was thrown away. But I've been in Pokemon probably about 6 years. I got involved right around the Vivid Voltage era, when you really couldn't find a lot in the store. At least in the Pittsburgh area, you couldn't find a lot. And one day I bought an ETB and got hooked on it. So I would go with my wife, and it's become a game with us. We go from store to store looking for stuff. I buy everything. I don't discriminate. I buy good sets. I buy bad sets because I really don't care. I just enjoy doing it. Part of what we do is the chase. I got a business background. I've owned a restaurant. I've owned coin stores. I've done a little bit of everything. Started off my adult career with the Marine Corps. I did 4 years in the Marine Corps. Can't say that I loved it, but looking back on it now, 40 years later, it was some of the best times of my life. It made me who I am. It gave me the discipline. For one, to be self-employed. I always say the difference between someone self-employed and someone working for somebody is when it's going to be 8 inches of snow on the ground. I go to work because I might have a client come in. You never know. And I got to be there because my competitor won't. And I'm very self-driven like that. But I collect. I buy Japanese boxes. I like to display things. I don't know. I've been here and there. I watch several channels. I don't know. I just love Pokemon. I love everything sealed. That's something too. I don't open anything. I don't open packs. I don't open boxes. I don't open anything. I'm one of those sealed guys. So that's a brief synopsis of who I am.
Yeah. And like I said, we had you on back. You were on the channel back in, I looked it back. It's back in 2022, actually, is when you were on the channel. 2023, I believe, early, like January. And, back then we were discussing some of the things that were happening in the Pokemon market at that point in time as well, where we were having different, it's kind of a similar scenario to maybe what we are currently going into right now into 2026. Now, do I think that we're going to see these variations to the point where Pokemon's going to let product come on, start flowing in the change of an era going into the Mega series right now? Because basically we were going to Scarlet and Violet at that point just starting, and now we're in this Mega series. And the real question is that I think is in a lot of people's minds is when you sit there and listen to people on YouTube and you listen to how people present things, how things are being said, sometimes there's this disconnect where people really, really want to push a narrative. And that narrative sometimes can be very confusing and kind of set people in the wrong way. And even now we're seeing it. All the thumbnails now, compared to 2 months ago, 3 months ago, all the thumbnails were big up arrows, green arrows, go, 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 Pokemon to the moon, rockets and flares and everything, to now just 2 months later, you see nothing but red down arrows, market crash. And I mean,
every podcast, that's all you see.
Market crash, I'm not going to lie. And it's not only is it just clickbait, but the problem is sometimes it's clickbait because, of course, that's what everybody's doing. So you want to catch people's attention with that. But the other part of that is too that comes into play is that there are some people that are actually pushing that scenario, which in turn can cause market fluctuations and panics as well, depending on who you're watching and how you're taking in that input at the end of the day. So my question to you, Terry, is that when you're watching all these podcasts, because you're like most of us probably in the space where you're watching several, maybe 10, 20 different podcasts, overall, what is your general sense right now with where a majority of like the investment channels are currently in this market?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. That's all you see is people pushing an agenda. And I mean, it's a free country. You do what you want. And those people make money on their podcasts. I get that. I watch it with a neutral mind. I mean, I've seen ups and downs. Everything comes back around. And, everybody does things backwards. I tell them, it's like, if you wanted to buy a new car, would you not buy that car when it's on sale? Of course you would. Well, you want to buy Pokemon when it's on sale. You want to buy it when nobody else wants it. And I'll give you an example from my personal self. Journey Together was everywhere around here. No one wanted it. I bought it all. I have tons of Journey Together. Not a bad set, not the best set in Scarlet Violet, but not a bad set. But no one wanted it. Eventually, I'll make money on that sometime. It'll come around. I think what we have coming forward, though, is with this release schedule, with this new Ascended Heroes set, it's spaced out over like 4 months of release, and Rip and Shippers are going to have a hard time getting that product. I would not be surprised if they sell that for $20 a pack, and people will pay that. I believe. I really do.
I'm concerned about that. You sit there and they've got such a long gap now too. The other part that I'm looking at from number one, the business aspect of things and the rip and chip side, along with the investment side of things right now, is the gap. We're going from every month and a half to having a release for the last 6 months now. It's been like bam, 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 bam between Journey Together, Destin's Rivals, Black and White. We had Mega 1, Mega 2, all that piled in here to now we're getting a break. And it's like, number one, Pokemon still isn't producing a ton of product. So we're going to have a gap where people are going to continue to sell down the inventory, which could cause a price fluctuation because of that going up. But number two, when they are releasing Ascending Heroes, even for me from distribution, you're ordering the stuff, but we're only getting one type or two types of products every 3 weeks. What does that do for the people that are addicted? Once again, we are dealing with an addicted market, which is not necessarily a good thing. And what does that do to their brains when, like you said, the Rip and Shippers are selling them at $20 a pack? They're going to take advantage of this. They're not saying that for myself, I always planned on, normal pricing, but some places like Whatnot, certain streams are definitely going to push that $15, $20 a pack right out the gate because there's going to be such a limited product scope to be able to get into. So that's definitely something that I'm concerned about as well. They did that in Prismatic and I thought it was a mistake. And I think that that's even going to be a bigger mistake this time because of the fact that they've even spread it out further than Prismatic now. It's, we got a couple products here and there late, like the figurine collection that I think they made up way after they were going to release. They were looking for something to do and that's what they threw out there. But general, we had the first release was like middle of January. The end was the end of February. So it was really in 1 month we got the bulk of the product. So that worked. But Ascended Heroes is like a 4-month stretch. It's like every 3 weeks we're getting two more products. And the ETBs and the booster bundles aren't until like the third release of products and fourth release of products. So it's way out there. We're getting like techno stickers. And
I think the stickers are the first thing they released.
Stickers and the 3-pack and the stickers. So there's two. There's the 3-packs with the promo, and then the sticker packs are the first two releases. So realistically, we're getting what we would consider typically the junk products or back products. They're not the main products that we're actually looking for when it comes down to this.
Yeah, it's a crazy market. I can tell you definitively, again, around where I live, I'm retired, so I go to Target, I go to Walmart, And I see the people who flip product, and within the last couple of weeks, it's wind down. I don't see those people anymore. I don't know if there's no margin to be made on this stuff that's being released now. I think Phantasmal Flames is a dud. 2 cards really in that set, 3 cards in that set. I don't think that's going to be able to support a set. Plus, it was a small set too. I believe it was under 100 cards, wasn't it?
With everything, I thought it was like 100. There was like 135 cards.
Oh yeah, okay. But
yeah, but it's still in Pokemon terms very small.
Yeah, and just yesterday, day before yesterday, actually, Walmart, where my wife works, she's a pharmacy tech there. They had put out the 2-pack Mega Tins that has Destined Rivals and Mega in it. And they sat there for over 2 days, which is, man, that hasn't been seen around here for a while. I mean, literally, before we were having 7, 8 people in line, and all the Pokemon was gone by the time that last person was in line, and there was nothing left. Now, at least from what I'm seeing, you can get some product if you travel. I give an example. I was at Five Below today, and I picked up Phantasmal. They had a bunch of single packs there. I have not been so lucky with the Dollar Generals and the prismatic ETBs, unfortunately, though. There's about 8 of them around where I live, and either there's an inside job going on there, or I'm just missing out on them because I haven't got any of those.
Yeah, and for us, it's spotty. So some Walmarts, we laugh. It's like scalper ants, because now Walmart put the restriction. And it's not just Pokemon, but they put the 5-card restriction on. You get 5 Pokemon, 5 One Piece. So they literally, we call them the ants, because literally they'll come in like 5 or 6 of them, and they will just do one person that for MJ Holding, and every once in a while I catch her, and she's really good, knowledgeable, good to talk to whenever I do catch her at the store. But she was laughing because she's like, they spent 6 hours cleaning out the store, 5 packs at a time. She said literally just walking around in circles,
just over and over.
Just kept walking around in circles. She said they go out, take 5, come back, get 5. Because right now we're getting a ton of sleeve blisters. So if I go to like my small town Walmart, there's still sleeve blisters. They got like, so the 144 cases of the sleeve blisters, they got like 3 of them for Destin's Rivals, and they got 3 of them for Phantasmal Flames. So tons of them. And at 5 at a time, that takes a really long time to get them off of there. The thing is that we see bigger products like ETBs, anything that's like the high-end products right now are gone immediately. So that's what they really focus on, and those are gone immediately. It's the smaller items like the 5 packs at a time that are really the thing that people are looking for. And that's what they get out. But otherwise, like you said, a lot of the tins. So the new Pokeballs, people don't have interest in the new Pokeballs. They're just chilling on the shelf. Stellar Crown, but them 3 packs, people are losing interest in them 3 packs too. And that was something I even pointed out on a video is I have yet to get good hits out of those 3-pack bundles, and they all have that weird mark on the packs. I got Stellar Crown, same thing. They get like a weird like a mark on the top of them, like almost MJ Holding is doing something to the pack. And you could sit there and go, okay. Remember back in like probably around 2021, all the way through until like 2022, when Pokemon, before they owned Millennial Print Group, they used to have like 2 companies printing.
Yeah.
And you could tell which one because the one pack always had like that glue mark on the top of it. So like Hidden Fates, Shining Fates, Battle Styles all had that little glue mark on the top. So you knew which printing company was almost making that one versus the other one. It looks like that on all the MJ Holding packs inside of those 3-pack boxes, but they don't come on the regular ones. So it's not like another printing company is making those. They look like they're tampered with packs, and you'll get an EX hit. But honestly, you go to my video I did about it. People are leaving comments like I've opened 40 of these and never hit an illustration rare. I've opened, so many of these. I've pulled EXs, no SIRs, no illustration rares out of those packs. Whether or not it's true or not, it seems like it's starting to get people don't want them because Surging Spark sat on the shelf forever. And 3-pack boxes are sitting there a long period of time compared to what they used to even before with Obsidian Flames and a lot of the other sets. So, but yeah, it really is store driven, area driven, because our small town Walmart still there. There's still sleep packs. I can go right now if I wanted to tonight and go get them for the kids or do whatever I want with those. But the big towns or the bigger cities that have like groups of people that do this that are right there, they're like ants. They call them the scalper ants now, because 5 at a time, 3 or 4 of them will just sit there for hours just going around, and they'll go through one piece. Well, what they'll do too is that they will literally go and throw them all in a cart. One guy will sit there with a cart, and they'll just keep taking out of that cart
5
all
at a
day
time.
long. 5 at a time to the checkout. And it's like, you guys, this is ridiculous.
It takes all kinds to run this world, doesn't it, Andy?
It does. Like, man, I wish I had that time of my life to just sit there at Walmart and go around in circles for hours.
Yeah. Don't wish your life away. Eventually you will be retired and you'll have to occupy that time doing something. And I got 7 cats around my house that I take care of to keep me busy. And then, like I said, I set out during the day. I'll hit Five Below. I hit Target, just walking around, get a little bit here, get a little bit there. And like I said, it's not necessarily what I purchase. It's the fun of purchasing it. The chase is fun. My wife does it with me. And again, I don't think I've sold anything since beginning of June, maybe. I've just been holding everything. Like I used to list. I used to sell promos, Japanese and Chinese promos on Facebook. I don't do that anymore. I just keep everything. And hopefully I'll be rewarded at some point with that. And if not, oh well. It wouldn't be the first time I had a bad investment.
Yeah. No, problem is those with Pokemon, it's very forgiving too when it comes down to a bad investment. If you purchase a lot now, come 5 years, it seems like it still works out. Some sets are slower than others, like you said. But in general, if you wait it out, especially with the continuing move up, drop, move up, and change in the Pokemon, every time the booms are coming more frequently, which is something that can happen in collectors markets. We see it in sports cards and a lot of other markets and in collectibles and hobbies, that you go from maybe one boom every so often to now we went to a boom in 2016, then it took until 2020. Now from 2020, now we went to 2024. So basically they start to either stay consistent or they'll start tightening up more too. And they'll last longer. So instead of it being like the 2016 boom was like only like a 6-month boom, then Sword and Shield went and was almost a 6-month boom where we really had to go. And now it's almost a year. So it's like they keep stretching it. And it's bringing more and more people in as well as we go, continues to go through that market point of things. So one thing I do want to sit here on this thing here is answer this question right here, because he says, Northwoods, you have distro and you go buy products off the shelf. I do not buy products off the shelf. Just so you guys are aware, just because I go and catch the MJ Holding person does not mean I'm going and buying and cleaning off Walmart shelves. So I have a very limited stock of product that I get. A lot of it's just been built up over time, but it's still very limited. And then the other question that he put up here, just to do a follow-up on it, and it's just funny because these people don't understand business in general. Is that it's still cringe if he sells packs and ripping ships. He's literally a scalper. Now, that's not true. You got to, number one, you don't understand the definition of a scalper. Now, if you're going to Walmart, ripping off the shelf and selling back that product to the same people, you're definitely a scalper. That's pretty much the definition of it. But when it comes down to a business aspect of things, number one, you have to make money in business. If Absolutely. I can't get the same amount of product that I got a year ago, I'm going to raise my pricing. I have to cover certain expenses if I'm in a business. I am not making nearly as much this year on the business front as I did last year. I don't have the quantity throughput, no matter what I do. I am not doing, 5,000 packs on every set release anymore. I'm getting like 250, 300. So even me raising my prices up to $7.99 a pack right now for any of the Scarlet and Violet packs is not making up the difference right now that I have for my year. So, like I said, I just want to address that there's a big difference between cleaning out a Walmart shelf and going through that. I don't do that. that to me is cringe. I'm not going to sit there. I mean, if I see Sword and Shield products on the shelf, like the Empoleon T-Tar tins when they came out, absolutely. Because you're not buying them from distro. You're only getting them Sword and Shield packs right now through Walmart, MJ Holding, or anything like that. The fact is that if it's newer releases like Phantasmal Flames or product that I can still get through distro, I'm buying it through distro. I can get a better price, and I'm not raising up, even compared to my pricing to a lot of other people, we are not sitting there raising our pricing up to market. I may come close to market at some points, like now, Journey Together, I think is right at market value right now. But when I had it listed originally, I just set $7.99 is pretty much where I'm at to $8.50, just depending on the set and how much I get. So
I saw
I
you
just
just you just had a rip and ship the other day, and I looked at your prices, and they're cheaper than other people. It's not like
I,
you're making a boatload of money on that, you know?
no, I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to make sure I try and cover some of the expenses. As a business, we have to. I mean, if I'm not getting the product from distro like I used to, I have to compensate somehow. I'm not making as much as I did in 2024. I'm going to be probably 50% of what I made in 2024 just because I don't have the throughput. But I still try and keep my prices pretty good. I try and keep my prices down in a reasonable price range. I'm not shooting for the top market dollar and trying to play the chase game. I set my price. This is what I need for the month, the product that I got for this set. Let's go with it. And I think to me, it's fair market business on how it works and how you should be doing it. And if you're considering that scalping because I'm raising my prices above MSRP, then you're I'm sorry, go take your fiddle and go cry in the corner because I really don't care. At the end of the day, it's free market, it's a business. I need to make some profit. I need to cover my expenses. Otherwise, I might as well just shut down the store and sit on this product for shut down everything, have no costs, get out of here, just do videos about investing again and sit on this product inside of my storage shop forever. I mean, realistically, that's the other thing you could do.
Yeah, I agree. That person obviously doesn't watch your channel very often, I don't think.
So, yeah, I mean, no, I'm not buying from stores unless it's something I can never get from distro. I mean, like I said, if Sword and Shield ETBs were to show up on the shelf right now, I would definitely buy them. There wouldn't even be a question on it. But I'm never going to get that opportunity from distro again. It's very, very, very hard to find even in the wild anymore. And if you see those things, I wouldn't blame anybody for buying. I mean, if you're the most strictest business person out there, if you see that on the shelf, you're going to buy that. So
Absolutely. How I look at it, I'll go there. Might be like if I catch a MJ Holding stock, there might be 5 or 6 people in line. I'll ask them point blank, "Are you guys taking everything?" Because if they are, I don't need to wait in line. But that doesn't anger me though, because they've put the time. But if I wanted that bad enough, I should have been there before them. And then sometimes if I get there and there's nobody around, there's been a stock. And I give an example. They had Twilight Masquerade ETBs at my Walmart the other day. There were 6 of them. I bought all 6 of them because if I didn't, somebody else would. I didn't buy them to resell them now, but I bought them with the idea as an investment to resell it another time.
And that's the other thing I would really sit there and look at as well is that if you're looking at people that are buying this product for long-term holds, they're planning on holding it for 3 to 5 years, is that scalping? No, absolutely not. They're taking the risk. They're taking the chances. They're putting the storage away for it. I don't like people going to the thing and actually just sitting there and buying the products off and completely emptying out a Walmart shelf just to go and resell it on the Craigslist, locally right back to the same people. That is the definition, the absolute definition of scalping. If you take it from the public and sell it right back to the same public, then yes, you are literally scalping. And you could say selling it online, you're doing the exact same thing. I would 100% agree. But in general, in my general thought process is that, if you're buying from distribution, you're raising your prices because of free market and because you need to cover costs. Nothing wrong with that. Watching an LGS raise their price up or, doing the buy one, double the price for the next one. I've seen that on a lot of distribution or a lot of LGSs are doing that now. You can buy one ETB at regular price and then you're going to buy the second one at market. Keeps them from getting cleaned out, number one. And number two, it keeps the opportunities available for them because an empty shelves is not good. At the end of the day, having completely bare shelves in your store is not conducive to business because people stop coming because they stop seeing product. And that's another situation when you got actual brick and mortar, walking traffic is key to your business. So you can't lose that business aspect. And so there's a lot of different reasons why a person from distribution would do that, and it's an LGS or an LCS. But if you're online and you're holding for 3-5 years, like you're saying, Terry, you're going and buying 6 Twilight Masquerade ETBs with the thought process that I might be putting this in my closet for 5 years before I even touch the thing. You're taking risk. You're taking the availability. You don't have access to distro. What are you going to do? Go buy it from distro and do that? No, you're going to buy it from a store and you're going to use it. So once again, what's wrong with that situation as well for
I don't see
investors taking risk?
The elephant in the room about scalping is GameStop. I mean, that's out of hand.
Yeah.
And again, free market, they can do what they want, but it's and I guess I'm part of that problem because I saw on Facebook today someone posted a link to GameStop for the Prismatic SPC, and I didn't have one of them yet. So I dropped $200 and bought one, which is still a little bit under market. But what's the MSRP on that? 119, 109,
119.99.
Yeah,
119.99 for both the for that box right here, that Moltres. So I spent the money. I wanted it for my collection. I bought one because
I did too.
I don't have a choice.
Here's how I look at it, Andy. In 5 years, those are going to be worth more than we paid. Those are nice boxes. There's good promos. Yeah, and there's good packs in them. Yeah. So you pay $200 now and hold it. I mean, what you're talking $60, $70 difference, and sell it for $500 in 5 years. I mean, one of the first items I got in the 25th anniversary was the UPCs. I was able to get 4 of those. I'd sold off 3 of them for $300. They sat at $300 for the longest time. I got one left. They're $800, $900 now. When did that happen?
Everything went quick here in the last year. The problem is you couldn't keep track of all that stuff. And that's like the Charizard UPCs was another one.
Yeah.
I them at $70 because nobody wanted them. They were literally giving them away compared to what the MSRP was. And now they're almost like $450 for them. It's like, I remember, what was it? When did they come out? 2022, I think they came out. I think it was during Temple Silver Tempest, right around. So it's been 22, and nobody wanted them things. Absolutely nobody. They wanted them at 180. Everybody was willing to pay 180 to 200. The second that second reprint came, and there's going to be so many of them, then they dropped all the way down to like $85.
They sat there forever at that price.
Yeah, they did. They sat on the shelf at Walmart, didn't move. And once again, it's like, okay, I talk about that. And Dan at Catch 'em All Collectibles talks about that quite a bit too. If you're willing to play 180 for that box, you're one of the individuals that said, I think there's $180 of value in this product. Why are you not buying it and saying it's a junk product at 70? If you thought it was great at 180, why wouldn't you buy more at 70 or 80? It's just the mindset sometimes of people is just kind of interesting how they do that. So,
yeah, I don't know. People do it backwards, and I see it in the precious metals market. When COVID happened, silver was hovering around $32 an ounce, and then when they talked about shutting it all down to non-essential businesses, all the big companies, AppMex and all the big precious metals dealers put a hold on because they didn't know what was going to happen with the price. So I opened that Monday morning. I had a guy there. He bought 200 ounce bars off me and at 54 an ounce. And I told him, dude, do not pay that price for it because it's going to drop. It's an inflated market. People will pay more as the price goes up. Exactly opposite of how you should do it. You should buy on the way down, not on the way up. Now he's looking at it. He bought 200 ounces at $54, silver 68. So again, like buying something for 200, selling it 2 years for 400. Eventually it goes up, and it's a matter of how long you want to hold it.
Well, that's just it. And I'm seeing it now too. I'm getting comments on my videos talking about Pokemon investment, how Pokemon's being cooked by One Piece. And I'm seeing all these people selling Pokemon and buying One Piece. And it's like, once again, you're doing it backwards. If you're
Mhm.
investing right now, I'm buying Pokemon and I'm getting away from One Piece, because when you see the charts going up and they start going straight up, that's not when you invest into something. That is when you get out of it and sell out of it if you have it, or you wait until the correction happens. Pokemon's going through the correction. You've waited a year. Myself, I've Terry, how many videos have I done on investing in the last 8 months?
Every
Very
week.
little.
Every
Well,
week. Come on, Andy.
I do market videos.
Not
I
investing
talk
like
about
that, but what I'm saying is talking about the future of the market.
yeah,
That's
I
what
talk about the future. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the future of the
But
market.
how many
I'm
products have
sorry.
I told people to invest into in the last 8
Right.
months?
Right.
There hasn't really been a good opportunity to do that. It just, there isn't the possibility at this point. But when you see the market do this, where we start seeing this drop, now is when you need to start getting into it. If you see something, start going after it, because is Pokemon going away in the next 10 years? That's the one question you have to ask yourself mentally. Pokemon is at this point, it's been around for 30 years now.
3 years.
Is it going away by year 40? Probably not. Right now, there's enough millennials, there's enough younger people, there's enough people your age that are going to be around for the next 20 years that I see a good future in the Pokemon TCG. And it's going to continue. Our kids now, my kids, a lot of millennial kids right now are all hyped up on Pokemon. So you got another generation that'll be coming up in 20 years as well.
And
But it's all
those
hyped
kids
up.
have the disposable income now, 30, 35, 40 years old in that range. Now they got disposable income. What does guys do? They buy back their childhood. With me, it was G.I. Joes and Star Wars. With them, it's going to be Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon and all those things that they used to watch. And we got another boom coming up here with 30th anniversary. I mean, I wasn't around for the 20th, but I was around for the 25th, and I remember how hot those products were.
Yep. I wasn't here I came in 2019, so I was here for the 25th. I missed the 20th just by a couple of years. I mean, you can still find generation products in 2019. I do have a few of them, some of the collection boxes and stuff, because they were still kind of lingering around, because Pokemon really didn't have the people behind it like it does now.
It's crazy now.
I know, it's insane, but like I have a 20th anniversary, a couple of ETBs. They were still sitting around, and I've kept them because they're just really cool. And I'm kind of excited to get something for the 30th. So it's like, okay, now I've got 3 generations of these things coming forward. But we sit there and watch these things, and it's reciprocating. I mean, now we're in a reciprocating market, which a lot of people that are short term in the markets don't see that what the meaning of that is. And if you're in, like you said, metals, if you are in stock markets, if you are in actual markets that are alive and healthy, you start to see reciprocating inside of them. So you start seeing those ups and downs, some ebbs and flows. They go up, and then they go and they boom, and then they kind of drop, and then they boom again, and then they drop, and then they boom again, and then they drop. But every time it booms,
it's a higher
boom every time. And we saw it 2016. We had a little boom. 2020, we had a bigger boom. 2024, we had a huge boom going into 2025. So the pricing and everything too gets pulled up because of that. And that's where you start looking at how things are investable. That's where people like One Piece. Oh, One Piece is going to the moon. One Piece is too new to know if this is going to be true. If it's
what
going
is it, 3 years old at max? 2-3 years old?
I think maybe 3, maybe going on its 4th, but I know 3 for sure. It's on its 3rd year right now. And that's really not enough at that point to know if something is going to be successful.
Andy, I was around back in 1981, 82, 83 with the baseball cards. People was buying cases of baseball cards thinking they was going to retire on it. Let me tell you, the market can fall out of this Pokemon card. It can. People don't think it can, but it can. I don't think it will, but it can. I remember people paying crazy prices for they call it the junk wax era, all through up through the early 90s. And so many people lost so much money with that. And again, you have to temper your investments. You can't put all your money in one investment, Almost all of my money is in the stock market because I'm only 60. I have another 10 years to go with that. I'm not worried about a short-term turn down. And, like you said, that's healthy. It's healthy to have a correction. In fact, I'll tell you a quick story. We're old, like I said, we're 60. So we go to those seminars where retired people go and they want to try to sell you annuities. So we were probably, my wife and I were the youngest people at this place. And they had this big chart with the stock market, and they isolate all the lows. Okay. And they want to sell you an annuity. They want you to take all your money out of the stock market and buy an annuity. And you know what? If you're 75, that's probably a good idea because you may not be around to 80. And if there's a correction, you could lose a substantial amount of money. But they asked the question, does anybody think that there's a long-term goal here? And I raised my hand and she told me I was wrong. And I'm thinking, how can you say that? Every low has been followed by a higher high every time, every correction in the stock market. It does it every time. And it has since the 20s. I'll take that history over 3 years of One Piece any day.
And I'm not saying, I'm not saying to just invest in the Pokemon because it's showing success. I am very much not that type of person. I'm not pulling my money out of the stock market. I'm not pulling money out of my Roth IRA. I'm not selling my property and selling off my Bitcoin in hopes that, Pokemon's the one that's going to be the multi-billion-dollar investment when it's done. No, I think that it's a good way to add in a broader investment into your portfolio. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I always do for my business, I do my max contribution. I put some money in my Roth IRA. I go and I buy cryptocurrency. Right now, I'm buying a lot of crypto. It's actually been more purchasing in there than I am in Pokemon because that market's going down. And it's a great time that, Bitcoin and all that dropping like it is. Good time to get in right now, potentially. It could completely collapse. But, once again, that's why we do a broader investment is that if one fails, typically multiple other ones will hold up and manage to recover that money that's potentially lost in other ones. Success isn't necessarily going to be in one strategy. I mean, if you look at a lot of individuals out there and a lot of successful investors right now in the markets, they're not just investing into one investment. They're not just investing into the stock market. No, they're buying businesses as an investment. They're buying property as an investment. They're buying, precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum. They're diversified very, very heavily. And there's a good reason behind that, because usually when one investment starts to slide or they lose, it goes down that year. Usually if the stock market falls, precious metals will go up.
Right.
If you watch, or if you watch it, property will go down and investments and other investments will go up. So it's always shifting and they're always in a broader spectrum. By doing that, you're always managing a gain at the end of the year if you stay diversified and wide. Pokemon's just a great fun way. If you're a hobbyist and you like Pokemon, great way to invest into your hobby. There's opportunity.
So much fun. It's just so much fun for us. I absolutely love it. And again, like I said, I probably have less than 5% of my net worth in Pokemon, only because I can't get as much of it as I'd like to. But I don't think you should have more than an ancillary product like gold, silver, or REITs or crypto. 10% here, 10% there. But like, my wife has a fantastic 401k. We max that 401k out. They have a 6% match. That's free money. You got to pay yourself. People don't pay themselves first. That's the first person you should pay with your paycheck is yourself. There's a lot of danger with people only showing one side of that, the upside. And there's a lot of people who may not have a lot of time to look into the Pokemon market. They just see video after video after video. Buy Pokemon, buy Pokemon, buy Pokemon. And they do it. And they really don't know what they're buying. That's why I didn't buy One Piece. I heard about it from a YouTuber. I looked into it. I did research and realized I know nothing about this. And I'm not going to buy it. Could have made some money if I bought OP1, but I'm not buying something that I'm going to flip a coin on because I can go play roulette and do that, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing is with OP that, even from day one, it became a very heavily investing set. It was talked about from day one. It never really had an organic growth. It really never had a chance to really diversify. And the one thing is too is that people want to say that because it's got an IP like behind it of an anime, that it's automatically going to be successful like Pokemon. It's like, well, no, Yu-Gi-Oh is not successful and it has an anime behind it. So why is that a conclusion to it? And a lot of people say it's the age of the anime. That's what it's going to be. Well, Yu-Gi-Oh once again is just as old as One Piece, but yet still not as successful. The other factor is too, though, is that why Pokemon stays kind of relevant in a way is that it has the ability to adapt and add more characters in at a very large number, and it keeps itself relevant. So if they want to, they could throw in a new evolution and bring in a whole new group of fans. They could throw in a new Pokemon that may become become relative to the current way that living is, and people really love it and grow. Um, One Piece is one of those animes. They were pointing out they really haven't added any main characters into the anime in years. It really focuses around 5 or 6 individuals, and the ones I've watched are realistically I've watched some One Piece, and them same characters are still the most important ones in the actual, card game. Okay, but that limits how much you can diversify them cards. How many times can you draw a Fluffy or whatever they call it in different ways before it's just like, okay, how many of these cards? It'd be like doing a Charizard card and you only have 12 Charizard or 12 characters in Pokemon. So you're doing a Charizard every single set for, 20 years. Well,
that OP was touted as an investment from day one by everybody.
Yeah.
It was touted as an investment. I've never heard of One Piece prior to that. I'm sure some people have. I had never heard of it. And again, I realized there was like over 1,000 cartoons of it or something. Like it had a big IP behind it, but not in America. To my knowledge, it was in Japan. Am I wrong about that?
I watched it in the 90s,
Did you?
early 2000s in English. I mean, it's been around for a while. It's just, once again, there's a lot of anime series that people just don't know about here in the United States, unless you're into anime. If you're into anime, you caught a lot of these ones. If you're not in the anime, and a majority, anime has grown in popularity a lot too in the United States in the last 5-10 years too. Since COVID, I've really seen it explode. I know someone in the comments probably going to say it was before that, but since COVID, I've really seen anime really explode in the United States, where people are really jumping into.
Anime.
Yeah, people had time to sit in their apartment and watch things, and they dove into things, and they got deeper down the rabbit holes of where they may have never looked before. And yeah, I think that it's caused another one of those things where people are looking into different things and are getting experience to it. But I mean, me being in anime for a long period of time, yes, I've known of One Piece. I've watched it back when it was in just an anime back in the late 80s or late 90s, early 2000s. I never really got into it. It was never really a long lasting one for myself. But yeah, I mean, I've known about it. But what's like again, a lot of people when it came out didn't know it. I mean, not a lot of people didn't. It's actually more common, I guess, down in. I think iFOMO was one who told me that it's actually more common down in like the South America, that area too.
Oh, that's interesting to me.
I might be wrong if it was One Piece, but
He's
I think
on here. He'll let you know.
He'll let me know if I'm right or wrong. I just remember this. But yeah. So it says it's cultured in it's here, I'll put it up here right now. He just said it. It's culture in Japan. It was never a thing here until the first boom a year ago. So
yeah, I knew nothing about it. I heard Nostalgianomics talk about it for the first time, and he didn't push it as an investment. What he said his local card store said, "Look, this is going to be a hot product," so he bought some. Relying on their expertise, and from what I understand, he did real well with it. But I'm pretty sure he said he's out of that now, out of that product. He moved it.
Yeah, I had a couple things of it, and I've kind of moved it as well. Here in the last about 2 weeks ago, I finally got rid of. I mean, I got some from Distro that I've purchased that I'm selling on Rip and Ship, but I don't really have anything as a long-term investment on that. And I didn't know that Team Rocket Joey made that up. 5-character BS is a lie. I don't know where I've actually just noticed that from what I've seen, but yeah, it became
I
massive in
couldn't name 5 of the
Latin.
characters. I couldn't.
I
Monkey
could name
Luffy's
about
Luffy, whatever his name is, the only one I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I recognize from watching the anime probably 5 or 6 of them. That are just like the ones that I remember being on like every episode. It seemed like, but I'm sure in an expanded universe there's still hundreds of characters, but still with the world and the way it is, I don't know if they could do a huge expansion like add, like Pokemon adds 100 plus Pokemon sometimes on each generation, so it expands extremely quickly. I just don't know if that's something that could happen in One Piece, and that's one of the other things that you got to be watching when you're looking at the expansion. So I didn't know that Team Rocket Joey had brought that up. I just know personally from the anime and the cards, me opening One Piece on Rip and Ships, I've noticed like the same like 5 characters are 5, maybe 7 characters are like in every set. They just keep coming back and back and back when you're opening more and more of it. So it's like that really even the card game really focuses on a few of the main characters, which I remember watching in it. So I'm not a One Piece professional. I'm not even going to claim to be a professional in any way, shape, or form. Um, I just know that watching, from what I remember watching it, and I haven't gone back and watched it now, but back when I was younger watching it in the English dub, I mean, it had the, dub on it. It wasn't actually in English. Like I see that they've got it in English now, apparently, but back when I was watching it, it was still in Japanese and they had the dubs on the bottom. So it wasn't like anything that was like translated yet. But once again, I remember the certain characters I saw in the game and on the actual in the anime, and now those are the same characters that are coming out in the cards here, like
Yeah.
20 years later. So it's one of the things you see them 20 years later, the same characters you remember in the anime 20 years ago. It seems like it's semi limited to what they're able to maybe fanfare to be able to drive.
And I also question how many people actually play that game. I mean, people play Pokemon. I don't know if anybody plays One Piece. I'm sure somebody does, but I don't think people are buying it to play the game. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong. People correct me if I'm wrong. I may be out
I
of
know
touch.
my LGS doesn't have a night for it. They don't. They usually like even a lot of the LGSs they at least do one every other week where they have a night for it, like a mixed night or where they schedule an event or something where people can come to. Honestly, I have not seen One Piece on that list. Um, I know it's a lot of Magic. It's of course Magic's big. They got Dungeon and Dragon Night, or several nights a week they do Dungeons and Dragons at it. They've got Pokemon every single Saturday, and sometimes twice a Saturday if they got pre-release, and then tournament day. Um, then they sometimes every other week they'll throw in like they were doing Dragon Ball Z for a while there. They were doing some other TCGs. Lorcana, that's the other one they've been doing quite a bit. Lorcana every week now. They've been running that tournament. So I have not personally seen an event for One Piece, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it may just not be big in this area. I'm sure once again, you're dealing with an area of maybe like 20 to 30,000 people where I live in the whole like 100-mile circle around this
Oh,
LGS.
wow.
So,
We're in the middle of
well,
nowhere.
my whole county is 8,000 people. So I
Oh,
mean
gosh.
that's literally where we're at. The biggest town near me is Rice Lake, and that's 14,000 people in the whole city. So, and that's a city to us. It's 14,000 people. So that's where I live in the middle of nowhere. I'm just looking real quick to see. I was gonna look to see if they have any events for it, but I was just curious. Here we go. Dragonfly just put up here. One Piece is a very good game to play. It's basically a modernized and simplified version of Magic the Gathering. Pokemon is horrible. I consider the other. I love playing Pokemon, but kind of like Flesh and Blood too. That's another one that's another game that you said that. It's another one that I know that they bring up quite a bit is Flesh and Blood. So our LGS does Flesh and Blood every other week too. So that's another one that's been holding out there pretty good.
The only
But
other card game I got into, and it was an investment, and it was a strategic investment. I have a small position in Lorcana First Chapter, only because it was a Disney product. And it was the first issue, and it's like, I'm going to get some of that.
Yep, I've got some Lorcana. I mean, I got the first chapter. I got a case of those. And then I also have been getting some Fabled booster boxes. I think Fabled is a really fun one as well. So I've been kind of putting a little bit on that. This is a question I was going to bring up to you here in a little bit. I know you don't do much with grading, but I just
Oh,
got
I
something.
have graded. I have. Oh, yeah. Well, we can talk all night about this topic, huh?
Yeah, I know that's one of them that we could sit here and be here
So I
forever
don't
on
know
that
if
stuff.
people remember they bought SGC not long ago, and they
Well,
had
they traded for it because they traded. How did they do that? Because SGC was part of the when the PSA bought the vault from eBay, and Golden Auction, because they were doing that Golden Auction swap. What they do? Gave up Golden Auction, got PSA Vault, and SGC was part of that
yeah, it was
Golden Auction.
convoluted for sure.
Yeah, it was really a weird situation, but yes, SGC did. SGC get bought out by PSA, and now it's pretty much been gutted out. There's not very many people using that at all.
Yeah,
Beckett,
go ahead.
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I've graded with all of them. I graded with PSA when they first came out back in it was probably around 97 or 98 that I started. So I recognized, first off, PSA is the same company that owns PCGS, which is a coin grading service. So they started grading coins back in around 87. And I recognized what that did to the coin market. It took high grade coins to sell for a premium. And I thought, well, you know what? Same thing is going to happen with vintage baseball cards and football cards. So when PSA announced they were going to start grading sports cards, I started buying high grade sports cards from the different card shops around and flipped those. And since then, I haven't graded anything recently, probably not in this calendar year, but last year I've graded through CGC, Beckett. Actually, I sent some One Piece to Beckett, of all things. Wasn't mine. It was somebody in Germany that wanted me to submit for him, so I did. And then PSA. What are you going to do? You have cards. It's 96 days, calendar days right now for bulk at PSA. That's crazy. The market can change so much in 96 days.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other thing is, too, is that they're intentionally doing that for the PSA. Right now, they're really pushing the advantage to GameStop because GameStop still, I'm being told, is about 50 days. So they're giving priority to the GameStop shipments currently for PSA. But the one thing that I am more concerning about this when it comes down to when we're talking about the grading in PSA, and it's not even PSA that I'm concerned about, it's Collectors Universe right now. And Nat Turner being the CEO of that. And he is literally trying to create a Collectors Universe. Honestly, that is what he seems to be his goal, because he is buying up slowly, and a lot of people don't realize how much he's getting intertwined into every section of the collectibles market at this point in time. He started off with PSA when he joined in 2020 and basically shut down PSA almost within the first 3 months of him being there because of the fact of the overage of cards coming in at that point in time. But since then, they have pulled in the PSA Vault. So they bought eBay Vault, intertwined that into, let go of the Golden Auctions, gave that to eBay, but basically took in a vault. So now they're storing your graded cards inside of their PSA Vault. Number one. Number two, they grade your cards through PSA. They've absorbed CGC or SGC and have pretty much gutted that thing out and sunsetted that out. Now they're going after Beckett, which is probably the third biggest grading company right now, and have eliminated that, which leaves CGC and now Tag, which is now coming up a little bit. Tag still, I know that there's a lot of popularity behind it, but it's not as strong, nearly as strong as CGC, PSA, or Beckett. Those three are still your biggest ones by far by market share. The other factor is too is that some people don't realize. And I know it's getting out there more and more. I'm seeing more and more people realizing it, that Nat Turner now has been on the board of GameStop for over a year and a half.
I did not know that.
He is. That's why GameStop is premium.
Huh?
Yep. That's why they do PSA grading, is because Nat Turner is on the board of GameStop as well. And he's the one driving the PSA grading and using the GameStop stores now and converting them more into TCGs, not just gaming any longer like your normal console games. Why they're shifting. Now they're carrying sports cards. They're carrying they're carrying sports cards, all kinds of TCGs. I've seen more new TCGs showing up there that I have not seen at GameStop, now taking over the
Well, they
shelf.
have sanctioned gambling on that website now.
I still want to know how they get away with that.
That's got to be illegal.
It is. It's gambling. It's flat out gambling. It's like taking a scratch-off ticket. How is it not gambling? So
And
basically
they sell
now,
those cards over and over and over because, and they have I believe the highest level is $2,500. So let's just take someone who has $500. They go to the $500 tier. They get a card. Odds are they're not going to want that card unless it's a big hit, which they're probably not going to get. They're going to sell that card back to them, and they're going to lose money. Now they retain that card still, and they're going to sell it again, and then they're going to sell it again and again and again.
Well, that's just it. It's a never-ending cycle on that part. But the problem that I have with it is that, so I've had some people bring up comments that, well, that's the same thing as like the mystery gem packs and things like that, because you're getting, braided card, but they're not selling you. If you go to GameStop right now and do that online service or do that online, I'm going to call it gambling. It's pretty much
it is gambling.
They are selling you, they're giving you the odds of pulling a card with a price tag over what you're paying for it, and you can turn that card in for monetary value immediately upon pulling it. You can't do that with any other mystery product out there. It's GameStop is the only one that literally, I watch people on lives right now on TikTok. You can go sit there. There's probably at least 3-4 people right now doing a live where they're literally using this thing like a slot machine at Vegas. Oh, let's do another one.
I watched Twice Baked Jake's video where he took $1,000. He bought 10 cards, just to demonstrate, what that looked like. And I think he was down $200. He kept 3 cards and he was down $200 or something like that. It wasn't so bad for him because he got a couple decent cards. But I don't think that's the majority of people. I think that's the minority.
No, and even watching it on TikTok, I mean, it literally is watching gambling. These people will sit there. I'm down 200. I'm on 400. I'm down $600 now. Oh, we just got one. We got back $200. It's like literally listening to people at a casino. It's like, this is literally illegal gambling right now online with these mysteries.
And I said, attach your credit card to it. And some people cannot help themselves.
No. Well, the problem is that's the other part is that if it's a legalized gambling, you can't use the credit card to buy that stuff. So you can't put it in debt. I'm honestly waiting for somebody to rack up like $20,000, $30,000 in credit card debt and then bring this to a district attorney and say, hey, I was caught in this illegal gambling scheme, and they're going to end up in court because you don't have a gambling license and you are literally offering people more money than what they are putting down on something immediately for a transaction to be put immediately back into the system. So it is literally just like getting scratch off tickets or hitting a slot machine. I mean, it is no different. And that's, once again, I know that people are addicted. I brought that up at the beginning. I'm going to bring it up again. The addiction part of this hobby sometimes for people is very detrimental. And when you watch people or give them the opportunity to literally use the hobby as a slot machine, it is just feeding that need to gamble and feeding that addiction. And it's feeding it that much worse because you're potentially putting someone into ruin if they're not, because you're allowing them to use financing that they shouldn't even be able to use for gambling. And you're literally giving them that ability to do that.
I agree.
So there's some, what's this one? He says there's some.
I guess people can argue that, brokerage firms giving you margin. I like to think people who's borrowing on margin have a little more common sense than people who gambling on GameStop for Pokemon cards.
Yeah, I would hope so. So I'm just looking through here. There's a couple comments here. Let's do this one. Snug Nasty put up here. Welcome on in. Said Beckett has been failing to scale their business for years, while PSA has proven that they can. What if Collectors Universe is buying Beckett is what the company needed to become great? It's not going to, though. That's not what Collectors Universe has been. Their MO has been at this point in time. There's no beneficial growth for PSA or Collectors Universe by taking on the Beckett name. PSA already trumps Beckett 100-1 for every 90 cards that go out, what they say, for every 100 cards that go out, 90 of them go to PSA, 8 go to, or 5 go to CGC, 3 go, they had it all broken down. Realistically, PSA is your largest market. It's probably changed by now a little bit again. This is a few years ago, but 80-90% of your cards are going to PSA because number one, it's the one place that you're going to get the max dollar for that 10 or the max dollar for the grade that you're getting on those cards. If you're looking at it as a business aspect, PSA is still going to be your number one spot to go unless you're just trying to get slabs to do like mystery packs or things like that. But if you're actually legitimately trying to flip singles and make money on slabs, you're going to go to PSA. Just know. Beckett is, once again, the only thing you're getting at Beckett as an advantage is that black label. And PSA really does not care about that black label. And if that black label disappeared off the face of the earth, PSA is not going to cry about it. There's no advantage to them taking that on.
It's the only reason people send to Beckett is to get the black label. There's no benefit.
Yep.
First off, you never know when you're going to get your card back. They don't let you know. They don't let you know the cards have been submitted. At least the last time I submitted, it's been about a year and a half ago when I sent those one-piece cards in for that guy. I don't believe there was the pizza. What do they call it? The pizza tracker.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that being on there. And maybe now, I don't know. But it didn't say your cards are on the way. They just show up one day. I don't know. I don't have a problem with PSA doing it. I mean, they're buying their competition. A lot of companies do that. Nothing's going to change. They said it's going to be business as usual. I've used Beckett for autograph authentication. I'm an autograph collector. And, and I use PSA DNA, which is PSA equivalent as well. I do whoever has the better specials. And basically, PSA DNA has a little bit of a premium over Beckett when it comes to autographs. But Beckett's pretty good with autographs. But that's the only reason I use Beckett.
So overall, for growth of Beckett, though, PSA buying them, I really don't see them giving an advantage unless they give them like the tracking technology and things like that. Overall, there is no real business benefit for PSA continuing to grow the Beckett side of the business. It's not going to be beneficial to them to do that. And overall, yeah, they say it's business as usual. They said that with SGC as well. So they said they're going to run SGC business as normal, and that now you go to SGC and it's pretty much gutted out. So I don't know if they're going to or not, if that what's going to happen, but the problem is once again we're conglomerating everything into one format when it comes down to it, and that's the one thing that I'm more concerned about when it comes down to buying out Beckett is PSA is taking out the competition one-on-one. And I still think that when Tag or AGS get a system that is ultra reliable and have a good clientele, PSA is going to buy them out. I think that that's how they're going to get into auto grading, is that they're waiting for Tag or for AGS to make a completely bulletproof system with a large clientele, whichever one has the largest clientele at some point in time when the systems are all in place. Because now AGS has got a pretty much doing everything now, which is what I've been watching is that some people aren't watching AGS as much anymore, but they are actually bringing in sports cards. They brought in all TCGs, new TCGs. They're making the formulas fairly quickly for that as well. And I feel that Pokemon or collectors or PSA doesn't want to put in, why spend your investment dollars into auto grading and making these robots and AIs to do this when another company's already doing it? Then just go and take your huge collector universe stockpile of money and go, hey, we'll offer you $30 million right now. We'll just take the system.
Well, I can't think PSA looks at Beckett and thinking, boy, they're taking a chunk of our money. I mean, really, I think CCG is probably next in line. And then Beckett would be third. So, I mean, I don't really see the benefit for PSA to buy them, especially if they're not going to change anything about it.
No, that's what I mean when they say business is normal with the acquisition. It's like
that doesn't make.
Why would you do it? As a business, that makes no sense. You're never going to do business as normal when you take something over. But on top of it, why there's only one reason that PSA buys Beckett, and that's to get rid of them. To merge them in, and eventually they'll maybe use the facility, they'll absorb the facility. Maybe they want the graders and the equipment for their backlog. But in general, there's no real reason, no benefit for PSA to keep Beckett alive for years and years to come. I mean, realistically, they'll as a business, they're going to absorb and phase it out. That would be the true business way of doing it.
It's interesting, that's for sure. I've been looking at the tag. I don't think I'd ever submit with tag, but I like their holders. I think their holders are nice.
Yeah.
And if you're a collector and strictly a collector, not an investor, I think it presents the card very well.
And that's like even myself, some of my collection pieces I've been moving to AGS. And I've talked about that. I like the auto grading, the hands off. I don't have to worry so much about someone having a bad mood in order to get a grade on a card. It's a robot. It's going to pick up the blemishes. It's going to pick up what it does. And it's just basically, it's just basically a hands off approach that I'm not worried about someone giving bad feelings to everything, or bad feelings of affecting the grade. And to me, that's a little bit more beneficial for my collecting side of things. But when it comes down to the monetary side, no, that's not there. I'm not planning on selling those cards right now. Maybe 10 years, they'll finally catch on more and more. But it's more of a collector piece for me because I like the auto grading. I like to know what's wrong with the card, everything shown. So if there's an issue, it shows me in picture what's wrong with the card, where the issues are. It's not like centering, and I bring that up all the time. Beckett's a good one for it. PSA is a good one. Well, you can't tell with PSA, but CGC was a good one for it. How can centering change? If you resubmit a card, how can centering go from a 10 to an 8? It's not possible.
That brings up the point you're bringing, that it's a personal opinion. It's not static. A computer can look at that and it's going to give you the same thing every time. But you got somebody who having a bad day, got divorced, I don't know, fill in the blank, had a car wreck. That does affect people, especially, you have some people, these big investors will submit 100, 200 of the same card. Like, we'll give an example like that. The McDonald's Pikachu, there's people submitting 100 of them at a time. I don't know if I could sit there and go through 100 of them without drifting off, thinking about what I'm doing after work, No,
and that's just it. I mean, you're dealing with somebody who's, and what do they say? The average time that they look at a card is like 3.5 seconds. You're telling me that they can grade a card in 3.5 seconds accurately? Not a chance.
I spend way longer looking at my cards when I submit them for that.
That's what I said. My pre-grading is heavier than that. I spend like 10 minutes a card on my pre-grading. So you're sitting me telling me that someone can, and me in 10 minutes is not going to catch something that they're going to miss in 3.5 seconds? Like, no, not a chance. So, that's where I kind of like the robot tag. Like I said, I like the slabs of tag. I do. And I could see one of these two becoming very, very, as AI becomes more mature, as time goes on, I could see one of those two becoming very, very popular, but I can also see PSA coming and taking them out the second that they start taking market share to where they are even competitive in the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have patents on that technology or not, but even if they do, I can see PSA buying that technology eventually.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I see happening. Is PSA is going to buy the patents and the technology when it's all done. And as a business, why not let the little guy invest and spend all the time and energy? I don't have to deal with the R&D. Just let them do it because they're already started. And I'll just buy it up when when they start whichever one starts making a market share will be the first one to get bought up. That's my feelings on it. Quick thing here too, and I do want to answer this one because it did come up. Beckett Media owns Southern Hobby and Dragon Shield. Does PSA own them now too? If so, it's the bigger problem here. No, they did not. It was clear on the acquisition that the acquisition was not. It was for Beckett Grading and not Beckett Media. So Beckett Media is still going to be along. Dragon Shield and Southern Hobby are still going to be part of the Beckett Media group. The Beckett Grading Company was the one that got acquired. So basically, they only bought the graded side of things. I was wondering the same thing because I always figured PSA in the longer scheme of things would want Southern Hobby. So that was the one question I was wondering too when I looked into it, because them getting access to a full distribution for GameStop versus going through MJ Holding and starting to work that route would be even worse, in my opinion, if they got that access. But no, from my understanding, reading into it and into the article, I posted it on ESPN on my Discord as well. It does break down that it is not they did not buy Beckett Media. They broke it off Beckett Grading. The BGS services is what they purchased. The Beckett Media is still going to be there, and that's going to be your Southern Hobby and Dragon Shield. So just to clarify that part. Let's see.
That's
the question.
Tax time.
What's that?
I said, you're getting ready for tax time?
Yeah, I've got most of my stuff all together, all ready to rock and roll here. So I try and get it ready the month ahead before the end of the year. So
I do a monthly P&L. That way, at the end of the year, I don't have to add up all those receipts. I just do it every month and just keep a running total.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Every month at the end of the month, I do my books so that I just basically December, I just have to close things up. And then if I need to find anything or do any kind of tweaks or anything like that, or that way I know too if I need to spend more money or, what I have to do in order to keep my taxes.
Now's the time that people can harvest some losses. If you bought in at the tippity top, you can harvest some losses to offset those gains.
Yep. No, you can definitely do that. That's an opportunity right now to sell off and get some of them losses right now as well, if that's what you're looking to do it. Here's a question here for you with the autograph side of thing. How can any of them be considered good at autos when there's a massive autograph fraud scandal going on right now with the auto?
Well, that's a great question. There is massive autograph fraud. And again, that's people buying things because they're not educated and they're only in for it for one reason. I started collecting autographs in probably 75, 76 is when I started collecting autographs. Back then, you could write ball players and they would actually sign through the mail. I corresponded with many baseball Hall of Famers, in particular Negro League players. I sold that collection in the mid 80s when it was worth a fortune, like an idiot, because I was young and needed money. Never thought that would ever be worth money. But anyway, you get to learn. There's a lot of things with an autograph. If you know what to look for, pen pressure, slant, flow. For the most part, PSA DNA and Beckett do a great job, but they get it wrong sometimes too. And especially with these new players who just scribble something. That's something I don't understand, how they can authenticate something that's just a scribble. I don't get that. You can't authenticate that because I can duplicate that. I can't duplicate a Mickey Mantle autograph. I can make it look like that, but I can tell you it's not the real thing. But they'll put their initials like CJ or something. And it's like, that's not an autograph.
No. And I know a lot of services now are breaking that down to partial or, they actually say whether it's a full autograph or a partial or initial. I mean, there are different stages that I've been seeing them now break it into. I think PSA actually does break that down if it's just initial or if it's the full. I think there's like full auto and then there's also partial auto on there. So if they do like a partial, like you said, just do a quick little squiggle that's not technically their full name or something like that, then it gets put as a partial. Yeah, but I don't know how you authenticate that either. I mean, that to me, the autographs anymore. I'm not in autographs as much anymore. I mean, my grandfather had a bunch of older ones from, and my dad has them right now, and I don't even know who they are, but they were elegant. I mean, you knew who they were because you could read them out. And I've got some from like
in their
football
from back in the day.
Yeah, I've got some on a football from Brett Favre and from like Troy Aikman and some of the old football players. And you could tell, I mean, it's got the big B, and you can tell it's who they are. I mean, you can read them. I saw a Patrick Mahomes one the other day. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know if that's a Patrick Mahomes autograph.
I'm working on some projects right now with space shuttle astronauts. I got these nice 3-foot by 5-foot flags with the space shuttle's name on them, and I'm sending them to the different astronauts who flew on those missions. And it's really interesting because they'll say, "Okay, I was on this mission with this astronaut. I'll email him and let you know you're going to send it to him next." And it's just really nice, to do that. because I don't know if anybody's buying astronaut autographs, but it's fun. I get a flag every 3 or 4 days in the mail from an astronaut, and it makes me happy. I enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's a cool way to do it. I mean, that's really cool that they'll actually do that. I never knew that you could actually go to that extent anymore in today's day and age. I mean, I knew people they used to do that a lot in the old, back in the
Mhm.
past, where you'd mail off your stuff, they mail room to this person, and then they would eventually get back the stuff signed to you over time. But
Right.
it really hasn't. I didn't know that that was still an option in today's day and age with it being
Yeah,
as
astronauts
simple
are
as.
actually very generous. I had Lauren Acton. He flew on the Challenger. He actually sent me a book, his physical Challenger book that he had. It's in depth about the Challenger was one of the space shuttles we lost. And he had sent me a nice email, about thinking about how he could have been on that specific shuttle. He was on the shuttle that blew up, but thinking about how you escaped one.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because my wife went to school, and our school has got actually an astronaut that came out of our high school here, where she went to high school locally. So that's kind of cool. Jeff Williams is the guy's name, and he's
I don't have his autograph.
no well he's been a more recent astronaut. So
Okay.
he was late '90s through the early 2000s was an astronaut with NASA. He did like I want to say 18 missions or something like that total.
Oh, wow.
It was quite a few. He was one of the ones that did quite a few.
I can't imagine going to space, looking out and seeing the Earth down there.
I
The whole
have no interest in it, to be
no,
honest with you.
those people are so brave. I could never.
Yeah.
We got Artemis 2 that's going to here coming early in 2026. That's going to fly, I think, 3 astronauts around the moon and back. First time we've been
Yeah.
out of Earth orbit since the Apollo missions. And that's sort of
Yeah.
crazy to think about that.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, it's something we're working towards again to try and get back to the moon and actually put people back there again. So it's interesting to see all this working out, and it's actually kind of follow it. You lose the technology, and people always sit there and go, "How'd you lose the technology for this?" Well, it's like there was no value to going to the moon for 40, 50 years. I mean, why would we? What was the purpose? We didn't have the technology to build on the moon. We didn't have the technology to use the moon to go somewhere else at that point in time. It's not like we were looking at going to Mars off the moon and building a base there. Realistically, the challenge was to beat Russia, and once you beat Russia and got to the moon, why spend the money anymore?
Go back. There's nothing there. I mean,
There's nothing there. It's a rock.
There's a launching pad, but the infrastructure is going to have to be set up on there. Is going to cost trillions.
Oh,
and I think that's where we're going to get private equity to come in to help with that.
Exactly. But back in, the 60s, 70s, there was absolutely no reason to continue to go there. There just wasn't. So, and the technology wasn't needed anymore. So a lot of the stuff that was made specifically for those missions hasn't been made in 40 years. So yeah, the technology's kind of lost. We don't make transistors that way. We don't build things that way anymore. And number two, we have OSHA involved. So, and OSHA ain't going to allow half that, Yeah, no, you can't use duct tape to hold the spaceship together. No, that's not going to fly anymore. So, one more question here on Beckett that came through. Yes, they bought BGS, so the grading service. So that is part of the Beckett's comic book certification service. Is all part of the Beckett grading service. So they did buy the comic book side or part of the acquisition. We don't buy anymore; we acquire the company. So part of the acquisition was everything to do with the grading and the authentication. So basically, they did get the comic book side and the grading, the card grading side of it. So, let's see here. I don't know if there's a point to this one, but I'm gonna put it up there because I actually think this is still a really good price. White Flare ATB $65 and Black Bolt at $75. Honestly, it's not surprising in a way. It's just a dead era in Pokemon, and they brought back a dead era again for another specialty set. And if they would have done what they did in Black Bolt, White Flare in 151 would probably be 4 times the amount of money that it is right now, just because of that fact. But the fact is that Black and White era is just how many people have favorite Pokemon out of show of hands in the chat? And if you come in later, how many of you have a favorite Pokemon from the black and white era? And I can think of one off the top of my head I like, and I want to see how many people are going to raise their hand saying, out of the black and white era, my favorite Pokemon is from that era. It's just probably there aren't very many. I mean, the only one I could think of that I know that I personally like out of that era is Chandelure line. The Litwick and Chandelure, I love that line. Loudred, okay, there's one. So we got one, but in general, it wasn't a very popular. It was a dead time in the Pokemon TCG. It's one of the slowest eras in the Pokemon TCG. And actually, the gameplay, honestly, I was hoping that they would do a game when they were talking about doing black and white and talking about ZA and all this stuff. In a way, I was kind of hoping they would go back to it, because if with the anime side of things, particularly, there is so many open ends in black and white that just were never sealed. So typically in the anime side of things, they sit there and seal things up and they close up all the loose ends in that era and that region. And they didn't do that in black and white. So it's like it could expand a lot and answer a lot of different questions, but it just, once again, though, it's not a very popular region, which is why people just don't really seem to have a lot of interest in it. And he says, I like Ashwit. Now, I'm not asking who you like. I'm saying your favorite Pokemon. Now, let me be clear on that, because like I said, I like Chandelure, but I'm not saying that it's my favorite Pokemon by any means. But
I wonder who came up with the idea of that Pokemon. I mean, Chandelure. I mean, do you think somebody was like tripping on acid or something when they just, let's make a Pokemon out of that?
Oh, come on. We got keys, for God's sakes. There's a ring of keys out there, man. That's like some of the stuff they came up with, a teapot and a teacup. Yeah. Satini and all that. It's like, yeah. There's all kinds of pile of sand. I mean, we literally have a pile of sand. So, but like I said, there's a lot of aspects in the Pokemon TCG. There's a lot of things. Black and white. Granted, if they would have done the things they did in black and white, give everybody an SIR and an illustration rare like they did in black and white and 151, brought that Japanese reverse hollow and Master Ball hollow into 151, 151 would have been 4 times bigger than what it is right now in a heartbeat. But black and white is just not there. It gets, for me, the set got kind of boring really fast. I mean, you got the monochrome cards in it. That's a cool feature, but still, Zekrom and Reshiram. Reshiram's probably more known because of Charizard and Reshiram, but in general, still not huge. Like, oh my God, must have Pokemon. It's just not a lot to it. So and that's
right after Surging Sparks, didn't it? Wasn't that the set's release after Surging Sparks
for Black Bolt White Flare?
Yeah.
No, that just came out right before Mega.
Did it?
Prismatic Evolutions was right after Surging Sparks.
Okay.
So Prismatic, it was Surging Sparks, Prismatic, Journey Together, Destin's Rivals, Black and White, and then we had Mega 1 and Phantasmal Flames.
We didn't get a lot of black and white around here. We didn't. We got the collection boxes, the Victini boxes. We got a lot of those showed up.
Yeah. Here, the ETBs, it was weird because, like, for me, from distribution, which really, they kind of screwed me and they didn't realize it, and I get the mistake, is that for the first time ever, they completely individualized that set. So I got my one case of ETBs from them, and they sent them, and they were all white or all black. I didn't get any white flare ETBs from my distro at first. They ended up sending me 5 more whites later, but they didn't realize that normally a box like that, like every one of them is 50-50. So you go battle styles, there's a single or a rapid strike, single strike. You know, you go to Evolving Skies, there's both types of them in there. It's usually split 50-50 through the box. Black Bolt White Flare is the first time in English that they've actually completely split that thing. It was completely individual sets, like no crossover. You bought Black Bolt packs and they had Black Bolt set and there was a White Flare set. So it was more like, I liked it. I wish they would do that more often here in English with the split sets. So where you could actually go after, okay, I'm after Reshiram. I don't care about the Zekrom. I'm going to open White Flare. I don't have to sit there and deal with Black Bolt and all these cards I really don't care about. I can specifically go after this set for this card. So it really did narrow that playing field. But I think each set was still like 180 cards a piece. So It ended up being like a gigantic set by the time it was done. But if you went for both, yeah, the Victini promo boxes, that Unova promo box is really, really cool. Yeah. Otherwise, like I said, it's just a weird. I'm not surprised that ETBs are that low though. It's not surprising to me. The fact that Prismatic Evolutions ETBs are still under over $100 to me is just still mind blowing.
They're everywhere. I can't find them, but they're everywhere.
I know.
They're on Costco. They're on Sam's Club. They're at Dollar General.
I know.
I mean, my gosh, there's so much of that out there, but like you said, they're still 100 plus.
They're going back up again. They dropped down there at one point down to like 110 again, 111, and now they're all the way back up to 118 plus $2 shipping. So, you're back up to 120 a piece in just a short time after the last release here during right at Thanksgiving there. So there's just too many investors. That's a set that's so heavily invested into.
Definitely.
The investor bros just will not let that drop below $100. There's no way. For them, they would be better off if they're committed that far into it to just buy more, because if they let that drop and people get a scare and start selling, mass selling that stuff, then they're going to be screwed. They won't allow that to happen. I think they're trying to catch up from. Yeah, Lowe's and that. I think that. What are you talking about? Lowe's is selling Pokemon cards.
They are, and they're super expensive.
Yep, they had Phantasmal Flames at Lowe's, man. That Lowe's is already ahead of you, Blitzkrieg. They are all over you. But yeah, this one, I think they are trying to catch up from stores that ask for product. Yeah, they're not catching up in the right time frame for these cards. The problem is that my issue is with distribution right now with Pokemon in general is people are always saying, "What, we're going to get massive reprints. We're going to get massive reprints. We're going to get massive reprints." They can't even get us one wave of Phantasmal Flames. They can't get the printing done for that. Why are they going to take the time and go back and print mass quantities of older sets? They can't get the current sets out in time. So why are they going to go back? I mean, it wouldn't make sense. They're going to keep doing like they're doing. We're going to get these small little spits of stuff. Chaldean Fates. We got the last little spurt. I think that's it. Those boxes came out. The Iron Tusk boxes came out. The premium collections hit the shelf. We had the 6-pack bundles come out. We had the tins come out. Now that those are all done and Tecto stickers came out, I think now that that's done, they're done. I think that's going to be the last little push for Chaldean Fates, because it's technically 2 years old in February. So then it's going out of rotation in April. So once again, it's going to be, I don't think we're going to see any more of that coming out at this point in time. Now we're going to be starting working into Temporal Forces is coming up on its 2 years here in the near future. We have, Twilight Masquerade, Stellar Crown, all these sets now coming up for their 2 years. And typically 3 to 4 months before those sets come out, we start seeing a little spits of product. And we start seeing little spurts coming out of different products. And before, it used to be you got one massive reprint. So Sword and Shield, we got a massive ETB reprint or a booster box reprint like 3 months before the set was done, before it hit the 2-year mark. This now in Scarlet and Violet, it's just like they continually just throw, here, have a little bit. It's like watching kids on a float at a parade, just kind of throwing candy into the crowd. Here's a piece, just leave me alone. Here's a couple pieces of candy. Just get away from me, type deal. And it's not like that consistent bulk that we used to get as an investor. I used to love that because you could buy that because people are already kind of moved on away from it on that last spurt, that last little dump, and you could get some really good prices on them ETBs. That's when we saw, Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, and Astral Radiance and Brilliant Stars ETB show up at Target for $20 a piece on Black Friday. That was that last little spurt that they gave out there that was still, once again, people moved on. It wasn't as interesting. They were out of the newer sets, and then you get a chance to buy these things. We just aren't seeing that any longer. It's more tiny, small, little bits here and there, not of all products, just one product every so often. So definitely an interesting way that we're seeing it right now compared to what it's been in the past. And it makes me wonder once again, what is causing that delay? Why are we having these issues that we can't get?
What I understand, that they made more Pokemon cards last year than they ever had. And that's not enough to quench the demand.
Well, the other problem to that is that they've also opened up bigger markets and more markets as well. So that's the other thing is that
Well, the Chinese market's huge.
Chinese market's gigantic. They are printing so many Chinese cards right now to keep up with that market that yes, they are going to have more. And they've also pushed the Japanese market. It got hot again a little bit, and now it's kind of cooling again. But there's also, I've been seeing now even the Spanish market. So the Mexico side of things, in Mexico, South America, the Spanish ones are now picking up a lot. I am seeing a ton of TikToks and a ton of Instagram right now with people opening up Spanish Pokemon cards.
Wow.
So they are also picking up. So, yeah. Blitzkrieg says Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, 22 ETBs, Black Fridays. Yeah, but that was 2 years.
Yeah.
So that was released in 2022, Blitzkrieg. That's the 2-year mark of those sets being released. So that's why you saw that in 2024. Once again, usually right at the end, about 2-3 months before the end of the actual set of the 2-year mark, they'll dump. You'll get a dump of product out at that point in time. And that's exactly what you saw, Blitzkrieg, with that order right there. Is that's right at the 2-year mark because they were all released in 2022. They did that last little blip right there in 2024 for that Black Friday sale. So it's right in line. I mean, Pokemon has a history of how they actually operate if you watch everything going on the backside. And you can almost predict when certain things are going to happen. Like now, Paldean Fates, am I surprised that there's more products? People are screaming reprint. Oh my God. No. Am I surprised 151 is getting a little extra product right now? No, because it's really popular. And I don't think that was a reprint. I think they're just cleaning out the warehouse. Past 2 years, get it out. It's time to make room. We got to get this out of here. So, I mean, that's basically where we're at on these sets right now at this point in time. DJ folk. Welcome on in, DJ. But yes, I did finally get my hair cut, and I even trimmed my beard. I was getting a little bushy, but cold weather's gone, man. I could trim up a little bit. I was getting a little bushy, so fix that problem.
I actually grow in facial hair for the first time in my 60 years. It's the first time I've ever had it.
I know. I feel bad on your thumbnail. I used your old picture, and it's like now he's got a beard. Uh-oh.
It's all gray too.
There we go. So here you go. I've been watching a lot of POVs on sellers in Mexico. So point of views. So there's a lot of it now in that Latin America area is definitely getting a big boost all of a sudden on Pokemon cards as well. So it's another market that they got to print for, which takes away from the printer space of ours. So, I mean, these are all things. 5 years younger. I wish 5 years younger. I wish I could be 5 years younger. Can I keep the knowledge and go back 5 years? I'm on that.
That's what I tell my kids all the time. I've made all the mistakes in life. You don't need to, but they don't listen to me. I got to make them on their own, you know?
Oh, we all got to learn the hard way. I can tell you that from experience. You got to learn the hard way in order to learn it, right?
Yep.
Here's one question. People seem to think that Pokemon can't catch up. They simply don't want to. They sell everything they put out there that they want and continue that. They are smarter than people give them credit for. I agree and disagree with that.
That's what I was going to say. I can see that and I can't see that.
No, because I'm sitting there and I think that I've talked about that in the manufacturing aspect. There is a fine line. You always want to print so much, but at the end of the day, you never want to not have enough to keep interest. Pokemon got to a point where they weren't keeping up with interest, and they were having people lose interest because of that, which means loss of sale, loss of future revenue, loss of everything. To continue to do that does not make sense. If you're trying to spur a boom and do it for a moment for a couple sets and then start to print more, yeah, I could absolutely see that happening. It's been too long. So they are not capable of keeping up for some reason. If they were to do it and then incrementally start increasing over time, you could sit there and say, yeah, they're feeding it as the boom continues and as the thing continues to go forward, they are just slowly, increasing at a marginal level to that increase. That would make sense. They haven't. They've dropped in production in this boom. So why are they dropping in production? If you're going to lose interest, you're going to chase people out. You've got people screaming for product, and you can make more and more money if you could print. Why wouldn't you? It doesn't make sense. It does in a way I can see what you're thinking of going into the 30th anniversary. If they were to do it now and kind of drag their feet for the next 6 months going into the 30th, it would make sense. The last year does not.
There's a case that could be made that they're trying to protect their brand, but there's really no reason to protect the brand. It's not like they're on the cusp of one way or the other. I mean, they can sell everything they print. So there's no reason to regulate that demand. The demand's there.
Yeah. And that's just it. Even like this, look at them. They are releasing 2 to 3 pack blisters. Although they know exactly what they're doing. But what's the advantage to doing that? I mean, the advantage of doing 2 to 3 pack blisters is that it gets to more people. They spread that product instead of being in booster box and ETB. They spread it to more people by doing that. So once again, in a way, it is, if you're going to look at it that way, they're giving it the more out. They're taking what would have been going 9 packs of one person, and they're giving it possibly 2 to 3 packs, spreading it out more. Granted, if you're fighting the scalpers market, it's impossible anyways, because they're just going to gobble up everything that hits the shelf. But in the thought process is, if I can't print enough, am I going to print a bunch of ETBs that limits the amount of people that are going to get my product? Or am I going to print something and put products more distributed into 2 and 3 pack blisters, which means it's going to get more product out the door and potentially get it to more people? If I can't print, I'm going with this option. This option here in manufacturing is what I'm doing if I cannot meet demand. If I can't find a way to meet demand, that's what I'm doing. If I can meet demand and you're dragging your feet, I'm putting ETBs out there. That's more money. You got a bunch of crap fluff in there. I'm selling them ETBs for higher value price per pack. I'm sending ETBs, baby, because that's going to make me more money. Oh, if I'm dragging my feet. If I'm not dragging my feet and I'm trying to get more product to keep people happy, this is what I'm doing. I can't print more. I'm spreading it out further. That's a manufacturing technique right there. I can tell you that from being in manufacturing, that's a technique we use. It absolutely is. Instead of selling 5 packs, we're going to sell a bunch of 5 packs because I can get more people get an opportunity to buy 5 packs than buying all these 25 packs. So let's see here. This is one other one. Looking at Magic the Gathering and how WotC ran things and how Hasbro did stuff during the 30th is not a good example. Go watch Rudy's videos on that operation and how Hasbro pretty much just absolutely destroyed that release for the 30th anniversary. It wasn't a good rollout. Hasbro never really ran Wizards of the Coast properly with Magic the Gathering, and it's not a good example for how Pokemon's operated and done things in the past, or will continue to do things.
I read an article, I can't remember where I read it last week before, that Magic is the only positive revenue that Hasbro has. That's crazy to think of that. That's what keeps Hasbro afloat is Magic. Now, I have to admit, my oldest plays Magic, and he's played ever since he's a little boy. But I like Marvel, and I bought some Spider-Man boxes to display because I thought they looked cool. And then he says, "Dad, that's why I don't want to play Magic anymore, because people like me's getting into it." It's like I'm just collecting the box because I like Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah. Well, and the other part is that like a lot of Magic players don't like Spider-Man, and I've talked to quite a few of them because it doesn't fit into any of the decks. It doesn't work with their current decks. It's really no way to integrate that. And like they said, they could have even done like the Spidey sense or something on one of the cards to be able to like summon, spiders or something. And they didn't even do that for the Spider-Man. It was strictly like the Magic players I talked to about it. They're just like, it's a junk set that we really didn't have any value to players at all. And that's why the set in general has just been an absolute tank. It tanked out because of the fact that players had no interest in it. And you got to remember, these players will pay $20,000. Some of these guys have $20,000 to $25,000 into their deck, and they don't have any interest in that set whatsoever. In Spider-Man, even Avatar, I've been hearing the exact same thing. It's just not really beneficial for the playing side of things. It was strictly a money grab. And like the one guy said at the last thing, wait, you're going to hear it next week. A Hello Kitty, Kitty Magic the Gathering. And it's like, all we're doing now is just, we're taking this universe and throwing it in. We're taking this universe and throwing it in. We're just, No, it's just money. Just print it. Nah,
They got
whatever. Just print
Teenage
whatever's
Mutant Ninja
popular.
Turtles coming out.
Yep. TMNT is coming now. It's
Yeah,
like
it's crazy. But it got me to buy Magic. I never would have bought Magic if it wasn't for Spider-Man. Now again, I didn't buy it as an investment. I saw those hobby boxes selling on eBay before pre-release for $1,300 a box. Now I think they sell for like $350 to $400. $1,000 dropped on a box. Now, why would you buy that box? I don't get it. It's all investment driven.
There we go. I heard Rudy saying they're putting anime in the MTG. Well, Avatar is anime. I mean, you already got that in there with Magic or with Avatar. The Last Airbender is an anime. So they're pulling Magic. Hasbro and Magic are literally pulling any kind of IP that they can into it right now, because they're focusing like talking to players, the diehard players, and my friend's a diehard. He's been playing since I left in 2006. He's still been playing since then. He's made it clear. He said Magic the Gathering is every set that comes out is supposed to integrate into your deck. Somehow you can improve, change, potentially update a deck. Maybe not yours, but some people are, depending on how their decks are built. These latest sets are just not that. They have no integration factor into them to be beneficial to decks. So there you lose the playing side of it, which is the biggest part that keeps Magic afloat, is the fact that these guys are continually building decks and changing with what the new sets are that are coming out and adapting their decks to improve their decks. Now in these last sets, they're losing that. So like Spider-Man, there's no deck improvement inside of that set. Avatar: The Last Airbender, again, from what they've been telling me, there are maybe someone's out there has found it. I'm not saying that these are the end all be alls out there in the hobby for the actual playability, but they're saying that there really isn't anything in there that's integrating into their deck. So there again, you're not having, and that's why it's still sitting on the shelf. Airbender and Spider-Man is all over the shelf. And that's the issue that you're having with that. That must have been you. Heard a ding like a bell. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, and then they didn't do serialized cards in it either. So Avatar, if you're going for the collector, Avatar and Spider-Man, if they would have done a serialized card inside of those two sets, I think it would have done really well. But they didn't do that. That wasn't something that they integrated into it either. Oh, let's see. You've got here, I played old school MTG, all cards. Nothing. Wow, that would be in the world that I'd be down for that. That would be back when I used to play. These decks have become pretty crazy at this point in time. But I haven't played since 06. That was the last Magic. I stopped Magic and Pokemon the exact same time. I actually went a little bit longer with Magic. But I ended up just kind of retiring from both of them in 06 for basically until 2019 when I came back to Pokemon. Thing is with Magic is my friend keeps wanting me to keep coming back. He talks to me about it all the time. I told you that in a couple lives ago. He finally sent me I said, fine, I'm interested. What do I need to get for a semi-competitive deck? Something where I might have a chance at winning, being able to win something with this thing. And I laughed because he sent me this list and he's like, here you go. He sent me a list of all the cards I would need to get a semi-competitive deck. And he said, this is an affordable deck to get started. I'm like, okay, cool. Affordable deck. Looked at it, started pulling the pricing on the card, put it together. $1,483
Oh my gosh.
deck.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is just me. I could build a brand new Pokemon deck for like $73. I mean, wow. It's like, oh my God, $1,500 for this thing. Are you kidding? And this is just to be possibly not even like competitive, like to the point where I'm going to be up against him and be able to maybe that's just to maybe take a couple wins here and there. It's like, oh my goodness, his deck, he told me right now over time, and it's timed. He said he's got over like $30,000 that he's put into his deck over the last since he started. Well, we both started in 1996, roughly 1996, 97.
Now, let me ask you this, because I'm uneducated when it comes to Magic tournaments and things like that. Can you win? Do they have like monetary purses that you can win, like in these championships?
I think so. I honestly don't know. I don't follow.
What do you win? I mean, you spend a lot of money to get a deck and you win, but what do you win? If I win money, I understand that concept.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm going to be 100% honest. I haven't even asked about that. I just was looking at playing the weekend league,
for fun
and for fun. I mean, honestly, that's where I was looking at. But my nature is I want to be competitive, so
right.
I'm looking for something that I can actually win with, not like
Mm-hmm.
a battle. It's like, to me, it's like going and buying a battle deck. Yeah, I can buy one for $14.99, but I'm gonna get my butt wiped by everybody that knows anything about Pokemon with that deck with the stage 1. So I want something that's competitive. And when he tells me I'm gonna have to spend $1,500 to even be competitive, it's like, oh my god, how even to have a chance at winning, I got to pay $1,500 against these guys, and that's basically if I pull all the cards perfectly in the right order and do the right moves and not make one mistake on. And it's a complicated game to begin with, so it's like all the mistakes and issues that I've learned. Oh god, like yeah, my brain is, and it's completely changed since 06. Well, not completely, but I mean some of the mechanics, of course, have changed over time as well. But it's just nuts.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just don't see myself going back to Magic at any point in time. We just did Astro Drift. That's a new TCG that just came out as well. They had our LGS did a pre-release on that one. I'm looking it up real quick. So basically it was a new TCG that's coming out, and it was fun. It was kind of another one. It's kind of a Magic downplay a little bit on that part. So it's not quite like Magic. It's a little bit different, a little bit similar, but easier. Once again, you're not going to be spending millions of dollars to get into it, thousands of dollars to get into it. So it's a brand new TCG. It was fun. I mean, it was kind of a what do they call it? It's not a pre-release. It was more of a test release, like a beta test, kind of like they did back in Magic, where you got, even in Pokemon, where you had beta decks A and B, and you got to test it out. And that's kind of what this was when it came out at the LGS. So LGS kind of got in on the test on it. It was fun. So I got a battle or a test deck for that, which is kind of cool. So if it takes off, hey, I've got an original test deck from it, or a beta deck from it. Hey, it'll be fun.
You never know.
Let's see here. I don't play MTG competitively, but I'm sure things have changed. I have called Grand Prix or Pro Toros. You can win money. So there you go.
See, I get that concept.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, if you've been in it for a long period of time, I could see how you'd spend thousands of dollars into it. I mean, if I were to sit there and think of all the Pokemon decks that you probably that I've even built in the last few years, it's a couple $100. Granted, that deck has, completely changed. And I still have the old deck and the new deck, and you're constantly changing and adapting and moving and things like that. But I think in general, the overall concept is that Magic is very expensive, even to get a competitive deck. You can get the best deck right now in Pokemon for like under $100, and you can be right there if you know how to turn the cards and work the cards correctly. You can be right there with anybody else for the competitiveness of that deck. That is not the case in Magic. It's a very, very much more complicated, and also on top of it, the cards to build these decks, some of them are very expensive because you're using cards. So Pokemon cards are only good for 3 years, realistically. You can only play them for, like now, Scarlet and Violet base set in April will no longer be usable. So you can't use that in competitive play any longer unless you're playing legacy decks. So if you're playing on like the tournaments and things like that, you're basically at a 2-year window. So at any point in that 2 years, you can jump in and build a deck, and you're only spending that kind of money for the 2 years worth or 3 years worth of cards in order to build that deck. Magic, you're going all the way back. These cards are sometimes they're using 20-year-old cards in these decks that are extremely expensive now to actually find. And that's the thing is with Magic, why it's not like a reciprocating lose a section of like rotation on their cards. It's all active. It's all live. So that's a different part of it as well. Well, Terry, I know it's getting close to you on the East Coast here.
Yeah, it's almost midnight here.
So I know you're going to get late. I was planning on being here till about 11 o'clock. So you got any last things that you want to discuss here?
No, I just wanted to say thanks for having me on. I really appreciate being thought of. I watched some of the comments here, some of the people I know that enjoyed seeing me on here. I'm still around. I just don't comment a lot on people's posts anymore. Just gets me in trouble. Me and Dan go at it left and right. I love Dan, but I sometimes I like to get him gone, but I like success. I like people who are successful, and he's very successful, and he should be proud of that. But I just want to say thanks for having me on and thinking of me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I saw you come up, and I was like, hey, I should really sit down with Terry Lake.
Yeah, I was actually up that night watching your live and made a comment on there. I'm normally asleep by then because I catch you on Wednesdays or Wednesdays. I watch. Yeah, the next morning.
Yeah, you watch me the next day, so yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah, you made a comment on there, and I'm like, hey, I should get Terry on here. I've been trying to bring back some people, even some of the people that have maybe been out for a little bit, because even though you may not be like vocal or out in the front of things, it's definitely something that it's fun to bring back and kind of talk about what you've done even in the last few years when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I just buying and holding, and hopefully
one I gotta get
rewarded.
Yeah, one person I still want to get on here. I'm working on him, and it's been funny because I've almost got him on here a couple times, and it's like plans either my side or his side have kind of fallen apart. Is Pokénav? Who? Pokénav.
I don't know him.
Yeah, he kind of disappeared maybe about the time around that late. He was really popular from like 2020 all the way to like middle of 2021, probably right around that Evolving Skies Fusion Strike time period, right through Celebrations. He was
that's when I was first getting to start watching people's podcasts.
So
I don't know that name though.
I think he left. He completely retired. And left space back in 2021 in December of 2021. He came back a little bit. Blitzkrieg says I still watch him. Yeah, he's still out there. So I've been trying to bring him back as well.
Oh, Pokénav. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. I see it written out, and I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Mr. Thunderclap.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so I've been kind of working on him as well. So.
Yeah, I get it. Watching the different people, their different aspects, their different agendas, and I like people being successful, seeing people make money. I've seen several people that we both know who quit their jobs and now are doing Pokemon full time. Oh, yeah. I advised them against that because they had white collar jobs. And it's like you're quitting that job. Pokemon goes belly up in 10, 15 years. Now you're 45 years old, haven't been in the workforce for 10, 15 years. Who's going to hire you?
Well, that's the problem that I have is that some people ask, would you ever go full time? No. I own my own business. I own an HVAC business. It's not going anywhere. In 30 years, my business is still going to be here with no issue. I can't guarantee Pokemon's going to be as popular without trying to adjust out of this. So. Yeah. Everybody's going to need heat and cooling, so I'm not
absolutely. Really you're going to need haircuts. You're going to need to be prepped when they die, and food service. Everybody has all those things, Exactly. I advise people not to do that. I know it's tempting because the money's great, but again, you're out of the workforce for 15 years, and you try to come back. No one's going to hire you.
No, especially depending on them white collar jobs too. When you get out of too long, you're kind of trades. I mean, yeah, you can get out of it for 10 years and come back and still be able to fall back into a trade job, like myself. Yeah, I could go work for someone else if I were to shut down the HVAC business and do that. But there again, I still like getting out of the house. I can't stand sitting in an office all day. Ooh, that would drive me crazy.
I couldn't do what some of those people do. Like they hustle, advertising, buying packs, and they're buying packs from all these people, and then they're ripping them. I mean, bang, 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 500 a night. And every night. And it's like, I could never do that. Because you think about how many packages you got to mail the next day. Keep that straight.
Oh, exactly. It's tough with my even life. Sometimes, like, I'm always really, really cautious. Like, everything goes into little bags with number. I mean, I'm very, very cautious. My biggest fear is screwing up an order. So it's just like everything is just like, all right, I got to keep everything very, very tight in place. So, but that's just, like you said, but I'm only opening maybe 20, 25 packs a night or 25 orders a night. I watch these guys do sometimes 1,000 orders a night. It's like, dude, how do you keep that? You gotta have
People
like
buy
codes.
booster boxes, opening booster boxes. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
okay, first off, Andy, I don't get that. Paying somebody to open your packs. I'll never get on board with that. To me, that's absurd. But anyway, it's a thing. I'll recognize that. People buy a whole booster box to get what, 7, 8, 9 hits. You could have bought those cards for $15. You could get lucky and get a hit, but odds are you're not going to, a big hit. I just don't understand the fun in that. But can you enlighten me on that?
I personally, it's a chase deal. For me, it's if you're into the chase, you want to chase your own cards. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're having someone else open them or yourself. You still count it because it's an enjoyment. It's entertainment. For me, for example, I don't go to the casino. I don't do that stuff. I allocate so much money per set. And however I want to spend that, or per month, I allocate for the entertainment side of it. And if I want to open packs myself, I open packs. If I want to pay someone, I pay someone. Doesn't matter. But to me, it's just a check and balance of what's entertainment. And, I'm in a chase like now. Phantasmal Flames, I finally just said, that's not it. I'm done with it. I'm done opening these packs because every one I open, I get a dud. I pull Charizard Axis for other people, but I can't hit it. I said every Charizard set, I should just never go near it because
I've seen a lot of people turning that card up. A lot of people's getting that card from what I'm seeing online.
Yeah, it's not hard. From what I've seen, it's not hard except for when I try and get it. I can't even get illustration rares. I have opened 30 packs and I've gotten 2 illustration rares.
Wow.
Like, what the? Both of them Flygons. 2 Flygons. Yeah, the worst one out of the set. But, yeah, to me, it's just, if you're going to do it for entertainment, I 100% get it. For me, it's entertainment. I don't go to the casino. I don't, realistically, my entertainment is Pokemon. So I enjoy it myself. I'll have, I've had Dan, like when Dan did his Rip and Ships, I've had Dan open packs for me. I've had Alex from Nostalgianomics open packs for me. I mean, I kind of move around and try to go to other people and have some fun to see how it goes. But to me,
I certainly enjoy watching. I really enjoy watching that.
I do. And that's just it. I enjoy it, and I like to support them as well. So, I mean, I'm trying to support their channels and support them. I mean, I've gone on the eBay and bought from Nick from Old School Pokemon and all that. Just to me, I'm supporting someone that's doing what I do, and it's a good way to do it, in my opinion. It's my entertainment money, so if I want to spend it on that, then there's no problem to that.
You can think of worse
and
things
I enjoy
it on, that's for sure, right?
I was telling my wife it could be drugs, and she says drugs would be cheaper. You would have died by now with this much drugs. That would have been cheaper. I said, yeah, you're probably right. Let's not talk about the expense I have in my collection alone. So, like I said, I finally got to the point where I was just laughing because I said, I finally got my Pokédata all completed. Like I got one that's collection. I got one that's my like investment. I got one that's like just random cards and things like that. And she's just like, I gave her the password and stuff to it. And she's like, oh, why are you giving me that? I said, because if I die, you need to know what this stuff's worth. Because I said to you, it's just a bunch of cardboard and packs. You don't see value in it. But that's why I was just laughing because she was in here one day, and that's what started it. Is she's like, she was looking at these, and she's like, these Japanese Eevee Heroes. Okay. So she was looking at these are gym boxes from Eevee Heroes. And she's just like, oh, what are them worth? A couple $100? I'm like, no, them are like almost $3,000 right now a piece, and there's 5 of them sitting here.
Yeah, to the novice who's not exposed to that, they can't tell one from the other.
No, they don't know the difference. And I'm just like, oh God. I mean, good news is Jacob knows, but I said at least this way she's got a running tally of what's, because I thought, well, I could put it on an Excel sheet, but I said then I gotta try and update that Excel sheet all the time. Pokédata is a great way to do it. To me, it works really, really well on the Pokédata sides. It just be able to put it in there. It keeps up with the market. It tells them what the current market values are of these things. And that way, I said I also got a list of people that you could get a hold of that.
Yeah, that's important.
That's the important thing is that if something were to happen to me, she's got a list of contacts of people that I know would probably buy a good portion of the collection and be
not take advantage and not take advantage.
Well, that's just it. And I mean, I don't want anybody taking advantage of the situation, but I do have some people that, that would honestly buy the collection at probably 80% of their market value where, that they're not, or 70 to 80% of market value. And then she's going to do well on that. So, but let's see here. My rip and ship experience. My rip and ship experience from fun factor and collecting aspect, not investment. LOL. Sports cards. I'll buy the Packers in a group break and get only the cards I want. Years ago, it was great and affordable. Yeah, and that's the other thing is too. Sometimes even doing like booster box breaks, it's kind of fun where you do the energy breaks and things like that. Basically, you get all the cards that are in your energy slot, and once again, it's kind of the same concept at that point. It's fun. I mean, it's enjoyment, and you get a chance. I mean, you're not buying the whole booster box, but you're getting to see what was in the whole booster box, and on top of it, you're getting potentially a hit card if it does come up on your way. So you are doing a bit of gambling, but it's the entertainment side. Let me see. The one thing I was gonna say, I did see up here before we go, is get SM Pratt or TC. I could probably get Rusty. Rusty probably wouldn't be too bad because I've talked to Rusty in the past. SM Pratt, I have sent messages to him in the past. He does, unless you pay for his Patreon, which I will not pay for his Patreon. He will not answer you. He is very good at avoiding most people out there, unless you're one of like the big, probably top 10% of the Pokemon TCG. So no offense, he's just had that. That's been my interaction with him. Danny Phantom's the other one that I want to talk to see if I can get out.
Yeah, I like Danny. I like watching
Danny Phantom would be a fun conversation as well, especially for the business and distro side of things. Just kind of go over that a little bit more. So, but yeah, other than that, Terry, that's all that I've got for this evening. You got anything else?
I just want to say again, thanks for having me on, and I'll continue to follow you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
If you're ever hard up for another guest, give me a call. I'm available.
Oh, we could probably keep talking for hours and hours, Terry. I have that feeling.
We didn't talk about aliens at all. My one boy said, "When is he going to start talking about UFOs and aliens?" Because that's like my favorite topic. I live for UFOs. And I said,
if I want to get out of here tonight, don't go near that topic. We'll be here until tomorrow.
You can talk all day about UFOs. But anyway, I see iFOMO on there. Hi to you. I see you here and there. And anybody else I missed in the chat has said hi. I just want to say hi, and I'm still kicking.
Well, good to know. And like I said, Terry, I will definitely keep you in mind. I definitely would like to bring you on more often because conversations are always good. And we always come up with a lot of different aspects when it comes down to the conversation, which is a lot of fun. So,
absolutely.
Let's get thank you everybody that's joined in and joined us here this evening. Greatly appreciate it, everybody. Once again, we will be doing our live rip and ship. I always put that out there on Friday and on Sunday, 9 p.m. Central Time. So if you just want to come, if you're not even interested in buying, that's fine. Come in and talk. It helps out the stream a lot to just have discussions, and we talk about Pokemon stuff and what's going on in the markets. Our lives are just wild. We'll talk about anything, what's coming up at that point in time. So it's not like we're just set to just focusing in on cards. My streams are not that busy when it comes down to it. So definitely if you want to come on in, have some fun, just talk, and it helps out the stream with the discussions and the likes. It's greatly appreciated. So other than that, guys, thank you everybody that's joined in. Put up another thank you to Terry for joining us here this evening. Once again, thank you everybody else that's joined in. And if you hit that like and subscribe if you're new here. And last but not least, we'll see you next time here.
Good night, guys.
TCG.
Thanks, Andy. Bye.
Good night. Good night, guys.